Hello, and welcome to Shatter Our Souls with Novaria. Today we are tackling Super Smash Bros. 64 with Fox. Now I know it has been a fairly long time since I've dove into this particular franchise of this particular game, and well, there's a bit of a reason behind that. I've been trying desperately to get a win on these, and well, it turns out this is a fair bit harder than I was initially anticipating. So, Fox here, while having multiple really close rounds, never really reached what I was aiming. Now, Fox is kind of unique as far as Super Smash Bros. 64 and beyond goes. Smash 64 Fox says, hey, I'm going to be one of the fastest, most agile, most unique and powerful characters in the game. And I really think that Fox lands that in spades. Unfortunately, Fox being very fast, very light means that comboing is kind of Fox's bread and butter. But the issue becomes that heavy hits kind of fall by the wayside, and that's where I was getting stuck on it, was I was treating him closer to a middleweight character. And that's just not functional for this type of video or this type of challenge. So, how do I adjust this? We treat him like a high-speed character. We treat him like a character that can't get hit. Which, if I'm being honest, getting hit really isn't the goal to begin with. So, already in round 3, Fox is making amazing progress. And I gotta admit something here. I've never been a huge Fox main type of player, ever. I've always found that Fox's abilities just kind of didn't mesh well with me. It's not to say Fox is a bad character, quite the opposite. It's just, I find that I thrive with middleweight characters. The reason being that middleweights in Smash have a little bit more power to them, but a lot less combo potential. And so, while yes, it is a good thing to have those combos available for the player, I've never been able to pull them off. And that kind of sums up my experience with Fox as a whole. I treat Fox more like a middleweight than a speed character, which does tend to cause me some issues. But, oy vey. Smash 64, I think, given its more bulky playstyle, every character is heavier than their end result would become. That's kind of a disappointment, but it's the reality of this franchise growing over time. Now, Fox's abilities are kind of unique as far as Smash Bros. 64 goes. Fox is the only character that I'm aware of that can reflect projectiles. Nope, wait, there's Ness with the baseball bat as well. Fox is the only character who can readily reflect projectiles without the need of a smash attack. Has high speed and a unique directional input recovery move, which allows Fox to be able to recover in numerous situations much more readily than many characters in this franchise would be able to. So, already Fox has a lot going for it. What are you doing, Pikachu? No! Pikachu commits senpuku. That was not nice. So Fox has a lot of abilities already that give it utility. Couple that with high-speed, multi-hit attacks, which are meant to be more universally accessible to the average player, and a couple of additional unique capabilities And you have a recipe for a character that, barring extreme circumstances, isn't going to be, or is going to be an incredible asset for any player to learn. And if I'm being honest, Smash 6 Melee really set this character up for success because every other player was either using Marth or Fox in competitive Smash Bros. I think cementing Fox as this pinnacle of power. Now, the issue with the projectile that Fox has is that Fox's projectile attack is, well, it's not exactly the most potent out there. It doesn't hit worth, or doesn't have any knockback attached to it. Only does about 5 HP worth of damage. But it does 5 HP worth of damage per strike, and you can guarantee that if you have the appropriate spacing, that you'll be able to do a fair bit of damage to your opponent relatively easily. So, Fox really has a lot going for it. But I wouldn't be in this situation if I didn't say that there were some balancing issues. Now, Smash 64 was what I consider to be the prototype of this style of fighting game. Arena fighters exist, or really took off after Smash 64. Yeah. But platform fighters, even to this day, are dominated by Smash. And I don't think that's a hard thing to state. Platform fighters have yet to really find a niche that Smash 60, or that Smash in general has not dominated. And the prototype of it being Smash 64 really shows. Each of the characters have very faithful-ish fighting styles that make them unique within the game. You have Mario and Luigi that focus more on their, what I'll call them, the average everyday fighter status. They're kind of unique in that they're the everyman of Smash Bros. And their kit fits what they would have done in games like Super Mario 64 or even Mario World. To a degree, they could also say Super Mario or Mario Bros. 2 also ties into it, but that one's a little more contentious in my mind. The point being is that the everyman of Mario and Luigi really tie back into their move pools being somewhat more average. Fox having a fast, agile style of play fits more so with Fox's on-rail shooter style. Admittedly, this was the first game that really solidified what Fox was potentially able to do, simply because nobody up to this point had ever conceptualized what Fox on the ground would actually be. And Star Fox Assault and Star Fox Adventures, while they did try to rectify this at a later point, really left a lot on the table to be desired. Personally, I would like to see a version of Fox that uses the Star Fox Adventures fighting style, because I believe that the more unique, or that the version we get in Star Fox Adventures is the more unique fighting style. There aren't anybody else in Smash 64, or really Smash in general, that fights using a quarterstaff. And I think that would be a really interesting niche to fill. But that's assuming that Sakurai will revamp or refresh the characters in the future. Something that, unfortunately, I don't foresee happening. The reason I don't foresee it is because Smash as a whole, the characters haven't changed much over the last decade. No, correction, 2.5 decades. Mario gains the side move, which is the cape, and changes out the spin attack for the flood. Luigi gets the Luigi missile. Samus gets missiles. Fox gets the accelerator, which allows him to travel long distances and whatnot fairly reasonably. So, like, most of the characters get some additional capabilities, but by and large, every character remains relatively the same as they did in their earlier versions. So, a lot of times when people talk about Super Smash Bros. And each future iteration, each new generation of characters is stronger than the last and is meant to uh, add to the balance, so to speak. Each character gets tweaked in, their abilities, how far they knock back, how much damage they deal, but every character remains largely the same as far as their base kit goes. Is that a good thing? I suppose it depends on perspective. I personally believe that keeping the characters relatively the same is fine, but giving them a new unique fighting style later on, like a quarterstaff for Fox, or maybe giving Donkey Kong some different capabilities that incorporate other Kongs, might look better. I'd love to see Chunky or Lanky Kong join Smash, simply because I believe that they had some unique capabilities that other characters would be hard to emulate. Who's to say? I'm kind of pulling at strings here. But I think I make my point fairly clear that Smash 64 set the bounds, set the groundwork, but they never really improved upon it, aside from a couple moves here and there. But here we are. It's the finale, the final battle against Master Hand for Fox. And I'll be honest, I still have a love-hate relationship with Fox even after this. There are some things that I will like about certain characters, and there's some things I won't. And Fox is one of those characters that I don't think will ever truly fit my playstyle. The same goes for many of the original fighters. And it is a shame, because I'd love to see more use of certain characters for myself, but also for those around me. To say that I like Smash is a little bit of a understatement. It was my first real dip into fighting games, and that was with Smash Bros. Brawl. So, I personally would love to see more growth in that regard. But next week, we will be seeing a little bit more, and I'll be able to elaborate a bit more on what I'm getting at. Until next time, I hope you all have a fantastic day. Be good to one another, and have a good one.